called in, we are alerted, then we activate the standard operating procedures.
On the specific...
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We were called in, and that is when I came in to assess the situation. We realized that it was beyond the two of us.
At the time this incident was happening, was the corridor being evacuated and were people being asked to leave the room, or were you simply trying to maintain some kind of order?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think at that point we were all in this, see what was going on. So the room was being filled as the time goes on, but we had our men outside who had blocked the gates so that other people will not come in. But the corridors were getting full from people who were already outside.
Based on the invitations, we were informed in one of the hearings that the maximum number of people that any nominee was to bring, I believe, was 10. Did you have any system in place to monitor who was allowed to be in here and who was not?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee chairman had informed us that we inspect the invitation card before.
Is that to say that everyone who...
Chairman, certainly not. Other people were brought in by other members of parliament.
Chairman, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening.
How the rooms are populated, how the building is made accessible moving forward as a lesson from what we witnessed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe moving forward, it behooves on us the number of invites. If it is 10, we agree with the 10, and we'll make provisions for the 10. If anybody, there's the 10 that have been invited, that place we can be able to ensure cooperation and security within.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Chair.
Just a follow-up question. Much as you mentioned the number 10, at the last time when I came, I counted the seats just to have an idea. The number of people, 2 rows on this side, 3 or 4 in them. See how many people could we accommodate at a time. And at first, during the appointments committee sittings, we will not allow people to be standing in the alleys. Now we seem to have allowed people to be standing. Another vetting I saw, somewhere even sitting in front of the first row. Don't you think that we have relaxed the rule in the system that we had? Because I've been on the appointments committee for 3 years. We didn't used to have that, let me say, congestion. Let me put it that way. We didn't have that. Don't you think that we have relaxed the rules a bit?
60 that you were talking about was the earlier sittings when we had allowed the whole place to be opened up. Now the chairman insisted that now we will see a member will enter with somebody. It's difficult to get a person out, and the person comes to add up to the number, and the number keeps going high. Those who were sitting down, I think it was the tradition of the paramount chief the last time.
You appear to be concerned only about people in this room which could pose security threat. You have not indicated to us your fears about outside the compound. So are you suggesting that people who come in, even if there were 1 million people, you don't bother about it, because we have troves of a festival. Are you
Of serious concern to us. It's something that we have never seen before, but this time around we realized that it was happening. People were bussed, some all the way from Tamale and other places were bussed in, and because of their culture, they carry with them drums and the rest. We insisted that they should not play because this is an office. People are working almost the same thing. So it was back and forth that we kept that were coming in. People will now debus and now walk in. They are coming to visit an MP. They will not say they are coming for vetting of Parliament, open to the public. The person now goes to the honorable member. Before you see, the person has found himself inside the vetting room, and that kept the number going up. But we are concerned with security on the floors of Job 600 and other places, the compound, and we tried as much as possible to keep the security in place. At that day, we have as close as 100 police officers that were dotted around, some within the car parks and then within the precincts, observing and checking so that members are not hurt, the properties in Parliament are not destroyed as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Honorable. Thank you very much, Chairman. Let me ask some of the earlier witnesses. Indicate, let me ask you, would you agree with me that the security that was provided wasn't adequate? So that prompted these members of Parliament to join and see, I know security is supposed to be provided by the marshal, but they decided to join because they felt security we provided wasn't enough. Would you agree with me?
Security for the committee meeting. Little did we know that it will go to the extent of damaging state property. You realize when the table was pulled, because the cables are interconnected, that was when the console now fell from the table to hit the ground and get scattered into pieces. But as much as possible, we were also holding them in place so that they are not destroyed. It was unfortunate that particular console fell when the table was lifted and got broken.
So in reality, you didn't need the members of Parliament who were protecting
keep security.
Yeah, before they even started two table and now two cables. What did you do? Immediately you heard that. What did the marshal do?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Protection of the properties is also in our care, and we came in as much as possible to stop them from removing those cables. Some of the mics were on. Honorable members have on them and were speaking through it. So there was no way we could shut everything down, and we just had to fall. However, the rest were protected at that time.
Chair, I just want to find out, because the instruction came before the distraction. You were here. And when the instruction came, you took immediately, because if you had taken probably for want of word the right action, probably they couldn't have even acted the way they did, because we all heard it. I wasn't here, but I was just watching it on television, and you could hear that cable to table.
He wasn't here when the whole thing started. He was within the corridor when he realized that there was altercation. He decided to come in. Was that it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So you didn't hear that there was this shout from
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All our eyes were on the table and looking at those who maybe attempt to hold any of the console or table or cables to pull. Those that attempted, we try to ward them all and split into pieces.
I just want to tell for the members of parliament.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it was helpful. They kept bringing the tables back. Otherwise, more of the consoles may have gotten damaged at that point.
Okay. Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Kofi Ofoso, we will discharge you now. We may call on you again. There are few questions that we need to ask you. Now call upon Honorable Minister Designate for Health.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando.
I, Kwabena Minta Akando,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching
the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Honorable Akando, you were not here when we played the video. Do you want us to play the video again for you?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Can you to confirm that whether he was the one? No, there are two marshals. The second, the top guy. Yeah, okay. So the question that they could. Yes, Honorable Akando.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You watched the video.
I did. My attention was drawn to the fact that you wanted me to identify myself in the video.
Yes.
And I have.
Okay. That confirms that you are the person in the video.
Very well, Mr. Chairman.
On the 30th of January, when the nominee for the Ministry of Health portfolio was to be vetted, were you here?
Mr. Chairman, I was the same person.
Can you tell us what happened on that fateful day? In a brief, since you have to go somewhere. Brief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was invited by the appointment committee to appear before them on the 30th. Mr. Chairman, in the morning of the 30th, I called the clerk to the committee, Madam Gifty, to send me the program, the timetable. Mr. Chairman, when she sent me the timetable, my name was moved from on the 30th to 31st. So I quickly called her back and I said he had given me the wrong timetable. And she indicated to me that it was a right timetable, but they have reviewed it and that he was going to send me the new one and that I was supposed to be vetted on that day. Mr. Chairman, before then, immediately I saw that my name had been moved to 31st. Then I called the leadership of the committee, the appointment committee. Already started the journey and arrived in Accra, and so I was at a loss. And so both sides of the committee indicated to me that I was going to be vetted. In fact, my chief whip, the majority chief whip, indicated to me that if I had not had any clear instructions from them, why should I panic? And that I should get ready to appear before the committee. So I was held in the holding room for some time, and then called us to come and sit in the room. So I came in. I thought I was even going to be vetted. I saw the minister designated for transport took his seat, and then I had to come and sit close by. So immediately after the minister designated for transport, I took my seat. And then the chairman of the committee instructed that they should administer the oath. That's why I started.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Designate. Colleagues, do you have a question for the witness?
Thank you. Chairman. So, Honorable Minister Designate, the video that we have seen, you kept glued to your seat. Were you hopeful that you were going to be vetted in spite of all that was going on?
Very much so, Mr. Chairman. I thought that, well, we usually disagree at the committee meetings and finally answers.
So eventually, you could not be vetted. Were you disappointed?
Very, very, very much disappointed, Mr. Chairman. I had to make room for my guests, my visitors, paramount chiefs. I mean, there were quite some number, and it caused a lot of inconveniences to me.
It didn't cost you money. It costs you only inconvenience. Okay, it costs you only inconvenience. Okay, that will be all for now.
Thank you.
Any other colleagues? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable senior colleague, how did you feel
at the time
when all this was going on around you? Because actually it was just right at your time that this happened. How did you feel?
Mr. Chairman, I was so much disappointed, especially with the order in which the vetting was done. Mr. Chairman, you know, in this house, we do a lot of things by seniority. So I didn't understand why my junior colleagues will be vetted, especially when we're all, the names came at a time, and then I'll be asked to wait. I didn't understand. So I didn't understand the criteria they were using. So I was so much disappointed. I must be very honest with you. And I had the opportunity to register that displeasure at a point in time. After all, this is my 4th term in Parliament. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. So with all that happened, moving forward, from what you saw, what you went.
Mr. Chairman, I think we must plan things well. And when we plan, we must go according to the plan. If they had gone according to the plan, all these things would have been avoided. Mr. Chairman, I was told that came about as a result of the fact that a particular day's vetting couldn't take place. So if I was part of the committee, my humble view, my humble opinion was that they will reschedule that day, those people who were supposed to be vetted that day, so that it will not affect the program, the rest of the program. But if you begin to slot them, they should have, that's my opinion anyway. You may disagree with me. So I think that we should plan and plan well. Thank you.
Honorable colleague, but what is your view also on the behavior of, we are not keen on having our children pull tables, tear cables, and all that, but I want your view on that. We have to call a spade a spade. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it was uncalled for. You were fighting. I think it was embarrassing. Thank you.
Well, Honorable Minister Designate, were you part of the struggle? Did you fight anybody?
Mr. Chairman, I have been approved. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Honorable, but the President has not saw you.
Mr. Chairman, once I have been approved, I have been approved. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Minister for Health, were you part of the struggle? Did you also fight?
Not at all, Mr. Chairman.
So you didn't raise any table?
Not at all.
No chairs?
I was calm and I was just watching what was happening. Never.
Thank you very much for attending upon this committee. Or follow up. Okay.
Mr. Chair, the clerk, she came to give some initial evidence on the other day that we met, but she was standing right by you, to your left side. What was the engagement between you and her?
Well, Mr. Chairman, she kept looking at the direction of Mr. Chairman to see whether or not she could be giving instructions to administration. She was still cool, and she wanted everything to calm down before she does so. So I didn't hear her talk, and she kept telling me I should just wait, cool down. That's all.
You said that once you had been approved, you were there. I want to and never sworn in. In fact.
Yeah, Chairman, thank you very much. I know even across the other side, you have a lot of good friends. So, what were you thinking of when Honorable Minister for, who was the nominee then, Transport, he came ahead of you and he went through, but when he got to your time, what were you thinking of? Because I know you have a lot of friends.
Surprised because they had given their word that I was going to be vetted. I had already indicated that when I saw my name change to 31st, I reached out to them and they said no. I mean, they have reviewed it and I was going to be on. I was actually surprised, but hey, there was less I could do then.
Thank you very much for attending upon this committee. In less than a week, you've attended upon vetting committee. And then special committee report. Thank you very much. And we wish you all the best today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable colleagues, we were supposed to take 2 other honorable members, but I want to plead with you to allow Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs to since they have to go for their swearing in. I want to plead with you. To allow him to.
That the evidence I shall give before this
I'll be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole
Minister for Foreign Affairs. You were not here when we.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was here and I recall exactly what happened.
So can you tell this
committee?
committee?
Proceed without the video.
Thank you. Can you tell this committee what really happened on the 30th of January when?
Before narrating what I witnessed on that day, I would like to read to you inviting me to appear before the Appointments Committee. I believe this will establish the basis for me attending upon the committee on that day. My entry into the appointment and some members of the MPP suggest that I was smuggled in and that I and my guests, including my wife, had no business committee to be vetted. I raised the issue and the chairman of the committee and the minority leader apologized to me for that press conference, and that unfortunate narrative they had absolutely essential that I read these invitation letters, and then I'm willing to also make copies available to your committee so that you can have that in your report.
Go ahead and then make copies available to our clerk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, this invitable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament, Parliament House, Accra, and it reads, Dear Sir, invitation to attend upon the Appointments Committee. The Appointments Committee wishes to extend its warmest congratulations to you on your nomination as Minister Designate for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Pursuant to Standing Order 217, I am directed by the Chairman of the Committee to kindly invite you to attend upon the Appointments Committee on 1 and 2 of the Administration Block, Parliament House, Accra. You are kindly signature on each page and tax clearance certificate from the Ghana Revenue Authority to the Secretariat of the Appointments Committee on the second floor, job 600. And it goes on because of time to give the email address of Parliament and all of that. So I just want to, because of time, go quickly to the last two paragraphs. You are further requested to provide a name on 0244, two numbers, their numbers. And then it says that the letter is signed by Mrs. Gifty Jiage Goba, the clerk to the Appointments Committee. Letter is Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Coverage of proceedings of the Appointments Committee. Schedule for vetting of nominees. Thursday, 30th January 2025. And the names are provided as follows. Nominees. Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo, MP, Minister Designate, Ministry of Labour, Jobs and Employment. 8 a.m. is the time provided. 9 a.m. Samuel Nate George is the third name here. MP, Minister Designate, Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. 10 a.m. The Honorable Kofi Idi Adams, Minister Designate, Ministry of Sports and Recreation. 11 a.m. Then there is lunch break at 12 noon. Then I was to come immediately after the lunch break. It's here. Fifth nominee, Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Minister Designate, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 12:30. So they were anticipating that they'll have a 30-minute lunch, and then I will be vetted at Ministry of Transport, 1:30 p.m. The Honorable Isifu Seidu, MP, Minister of State, Climate Change and Sustainability, 2:30 p.m. And the final name for that day, the 30th of January, is Mrs. Charity Gardiner, Minister Designated PM, to be vetted. And we waited and waited and waited until I was prompted at about 8 p.m. thereabout that
just a
I can now come in.
Clarification. You mentioned 2 letters.
Where I also hail from both Fanglo and Tong as chairman, you know. Then the Tepahine, the paramount chief of the Tepa traditional area in the Ashanti region. I've served as a Mrantia Hine in Tepa for more than 12 years now. And so I have very strong, alliances with the good people of Tepa in the Ashanti region. They gladly joined me here, my dear wife, and the members of Oral, the Oral team. I'm very proud of. I'm told that the reason why I'm coming not to swear in Honorable Akando. So, what I recall, you had the minority MPs. I recall Jerry, I recall the Honorable Tampuli, and they were in the thick of affairs with the minority chief, with Honorable Anodompre, directing. And I heard him clearly because the mics were on, and even though I was seated here calmly, I could see and hear all of what was going on. And he said, Muntutu, Munyiyi.
But you can't confirm who took the chairman's microphone.
I would need to refresh my memory on that.
Okay,
on
because
that
we don't have
yeah.
on record.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I would like to refresh my memory on that. But I do recall that they took away his microphone, took away his table, the table that you are using now. That's the first table that was attacked, and they removed it, they pushed it, shoved the chairman aside, and they were determined to disrupt the vetting, and they were saying it that there will be no vetting tonight. They will not continue with the proceedings. And then along the line, they asked the Honorable Jerry, who is the MP for Bawe, I'm told. He's a new MP, so I'm still getting to know him. He then came to stand here and physically tried to stop the clerk from swearing in Honorable Akando, who was chiefs began to walk out, obviously fearing for their lives, began to work, because it had now moved very closely to where the guests were seated.
Thank you very much for the narration. Honorable colleagues, question.
Yes, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, this is a simple question, and I want a simple answer. So, you did not participate in the scaffold that went on. Is that right?
Yes, please. I didn't participate at all. I sat quietly. And at a point when I noticed that, no, I listened to the Honorable Majority Leader who had come in. To calm tempers. He did
as a result of the failure of the committee to vet you.
Yes, please. Terribly disappointed and also embarrassed as a member of parliament, because the spectacle, I mean, I believe the title honorable is earned. We earn it by our conduct. And what happened that night was really, really disgraceful, really shameful. And the sad part is that it was the same week that this same minority chief whip had brought up a matter on the floor at plenary that he had been called silly by someone and he would not accept it, and parliament must be shown respect and all of that. The same week, in less, just under 48 hours, this kind of conduct. So I wasn't surprised the next day there was a lot of bashing of parliament. And unfortunately, when the bashing is going on, all of us are brought into disrepute and become fair targets. And you can't blame the general public. They say, oh, look at them. When you call them silly, they don't want to accept it. but look at their conduct, look at how they are misbehaving, you know, and that probably even silly is mild, you know. So I really was embarrassed. I was not only terribly disappointed, but I was also embarrassed, and I still feel really embarrassed. That we have a lot to do as an institution.